Hello everyone. Today we will discuss chapter 16, the age of the Satavahanas. The age of the Satavahanas. Political history. The most important of the native successors of the Mauryas in the Deccan and the central India were the Satavahanas. The Satavahanas are considered to be identical with the Andhras who are mentioned in the Puranas. The Puranas speak only of the Andhra rule and not of the Satavahana rule. On the other hand, the name Andhra does not occur in Satavahana inscriptions. According to some Puranas altogether, the Andhras ruled for 300 years, and this period is assigned to the rule of Satavahana dynasty. The earliest inscriptions of the Satavahanas belong to the 1st century BC, when they defeated the Kanvas and established their power in parts of central India. The early Satavahana kings appeared not in Andhra but in Maharashtra, where most of their early inscriptions have been found. They set up their power in the upper Godavari valley, which at present produces rich and diverse crops in Maharashtra. Gradually, the Satavahanas extended their power over Karnataka and Andhra. Their greatest competitors were the Shadkas, who had established their power in the upper Deccan and western India. At one stage, the Satavahanas were dispossessed of their dominions by the Shagas in Maharashtra and western India. The fortunes of the family were restored by Gautamiputra Shatakarni, AD 106 to 130. He called himself the only Brahmana, defeated the Shagas, and destroyed many Kshatriya rulers. He claims to have destroyed the Sharada lineage. Shaharada lineage to which his adversary Nahapana belonged. This claim is true because more than 8,000 silver coins of Nahapana found near Nasik bear marks of being restruck by the Satavahana king. He also occupied Malwa and Kathiawar, which lay under the control of the Shagas. It seems that the empire of Gautamiputra Shatakarni extended from Malwa in the north to Karnataka in the south. Possibly, he also enjoyed general authority over Andhra. The successors of Gautamiputra ruled till AD 2020. The coins and inscriptions of his immediate successor, Vasishta Putra Pulamai, Vasishti Putra Pulamai, AD 130 to 154 are found in Andhra and show that by the middle of the 2nd century, this area had become a part of Shadavana kingdom. He set up his capital at Paitan or Pradistan on the Godavari in Aurangabad district. The Shagas resumed their conflict with the Shadavanas for the possession of Konkan coast and Malwa. Rudradaman I, AD 130 to 150, the Shaga ruler of Saurashtra, Kathiawar, defeated the Shadavahanas twice, but did not destroy them on the account of matrimonial relations. Yajna Sri Shatakarni, AD 165 to 194, one of the later kings, recovered North Konkan and Malwa from the Shaga rulers. He was a lover of trade and navigation. His coins have been found not only in Andhra but also in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat. Figure 12 shows India in about AD 150. Okay. Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, Amaravati, Shadavahanas, Pradishtana, Ujjaini, Malwa, satraps, western satraps, Kanishka's empire, Gandhara, Patliputra. Okay. His love for navigation and overseas trade is shown by the representation of ship on his coins. Aspects of material culture. The material culture of the Deccan under the Shadavahanas was a fusion of local elements and northern ingredients. The megalith builders of the Deccan were fairly acquainted with the use of iron and agriculture. Although before circa 200 BC, we find some hoes made of iron. The number of such tools increased substantially in the first 2 or 3 centuries in the Christian era. We do not notice much change in the form of the hoes from megalithic to the Shadavana phase. Only hoes were now fully and properly socketed. Besides socketed hoes, sickles, spades, plowshares, axes, adzes, razors, etc. belong to the Satavahana layers. Tanked and socketed arrowheads as well as daggers have also been discovered. At a site in Karimnagar district, even a blacksmith's shop has been discovered. The Satavahana may have exploited the iron ores of Karimnagar and Warangal. For in these districts, indications of iron workings as early as megalithic phase have been found. Evidence of ancient gold workings has been found in the Kolar fields in the early Christian centuries. The Shadavanas may have used gold as bullion, for they did not issue gold coins as the Kushans did. They issued mostly coins of lead, which is found in the Deccan. They also issued potin, copper, and bronze money. The Ikshavugus also issued their coins. Both the Shadavanas and Ikshavugus seem to have exploited the mineral resources of the Deccan. The people of the Deccan knew the art of paddy transplantation. And in the first 2 centuries, the area between Krishna and Godavari, especially at the mouths of the two rivers, formed a great rice bowl. The people of the Deccan also produced cotton. In the foreign accounts, the Andhra is considered to be famous for its cotton products. Thus, a good portion of the Deccan developed a very advanced rural economy. According to Pliny, the Andhra kingdom maintained an army of 1 lakh infantry, 2,000 cavalry, and 1,000 elephants. Apparently, the peasants produced enough to support this military strength. Through contacts with the north, the people of the Deccan learned the use of coins, burned bricks, ring wells, etc. These elements of material life had become quite important in the North India by 300 BC, but they acquired importance in the Deccan a couple of centuries later. In Pedda Bangur, 200 BC to AD 200, in Karim Nagar district, we find regular use of fire-baked bricks, and use of flat, perforated roof tiles. All this must have contributed to lasting structures. This is what is further remarkable is the fact that as many as 22 brick wells belong to the 2nd century AD have been discovered at that site. Naturally, these facilitated thick habitations, and we find their covered drains underground to lead wastewater into sockage pits. Towns appeared in Maharashtra by the 1st century BC, when we find several crafts. They emerged in the eastern Deccan a century later. Pliny informs us that the Andhra country in the eastern Deccan included 30 walled towns, besides numerous villages. Several towns of the 2nd and 3rd centuries in this area are known from inscriptions and excavations. Increasing trade is indicated by numerous Roman and Shadavana coins. They appeared about a century later in the eastern Deccan, in the Godavari Krishna area. Social organization. The Shatavahanas originally seem to have been a tribe of the Deccan, but they were Brahmanized, and their most famous king, Kaudami Putra Shatakarni, claims to have established the fourfold Varna system, which had fallen into disorder. He boasts that he put an order to the intermixture between the people of different social orders. Such a confusion was obviously caused by the Shaka infiltration and by the thin and superficial Brahmanization of the tribes living in the Deccan. The absorption of the Shagas in Hindu society as Kshatriyas was facilitated by intermarriage between the Shagas and the Shadavanas. Similarly, the indigenous tribal people were more and more acculturated by the Buddhist monks, who were induced by the land grants to settle in the Western Deccan. It is suggested that traders also supported Buddhist monks, for the earliest cave seems to have been located on the trade routes. The Satavahanas were also the first rulers to make land grants to the Brahmanas. Who were the first rulers to make the land grants to the Brahmanas? Satavahanas. Although we have more instances of grants being made to Buddhist monks. According to Dharma Shastras, it was the function of the Kshatriya to rule. but the Satavahana rulers called themselves Brahmanas. Gautami Putra boasts that he was a true Brahmana since the Andhras are identified with the early Satavahanas. Probably they were a local tribe who were converted to Brahmanism. The Orthodox Brahmanas of the north looked upon the Andhras as a mixed caste. This shows that Andhras were a tribal people who were brought within the fold of Hindu society as a mixed caste. Increasing craft and commerce in this period brought many merchants and artisans to forefront. Merchants took pride in naming themselves after the towns to which they belonged. Both artisans and merchants made generous donations to the Buddhist cause. They set up small memorial tablets. Among the artisans, the Gandigas or the perfumers are repeatedly mentioned as donors. At a later stage, the term Gandiga became so general as to denote all kinds of shopkeepers. The modern title Gandhi is derived from this ancient term. The most interesting detail about the Satavahanas relates to their family structure. In Aryan society, in North India, father enjoyed greater importance than mother, and the princess whom we considered so far seem to have belonged to the patriarchal society. But the Satavahanas show traces of a matrilineal social structure. It was customary for their king to be named after his mother. Such names are Gautami Putra and Vasishti Putra, indicate that in their society, mother enjoyed a great deal of importance. At present, in peninsular India, the son's name includes a part of father's name, but in it there is no place for mother. Queens made important religious gifts in their own right, and some of them acted as regents. But basically, the Satavahana ruling family was patriarchal because succession to the throne passed to the male member. Okay. Pattern of administration. Satavahana rulers strove for the royal ideal set forth in the Dharma Shastras. The king was represented as the upholder of Dharma. To him were assigned a few divine attributes. The Satavahana king is represented as possessing the qualities of ancient gods, such as Rama, Bhima, Keshava, Arjuna, etc. He is compared in prowess and luster to these legendary figures and to supernatural forces. This was evidently meant to attribute divinity to the Satavahana king. The Satavahana kept some of the administrative units found in Ashokan times. Their district was called Ahara, and it was known in the time of Ashoka. Their officials were known as Amatyas and Mahamatras, as they were known in the Mauryan times. But we notice certain military and feudal elements in the administration of Satavahanas. It was significant that Senapati was appointed provincial governor. It is significant that the Senapati was appointed provincial governor. Since the tribal people in the Deccan were not thoroughly Hinduized and reconciled to the new rule, it was necessary to keep them under strong military control. The administration in the rural areas was placed in the hands of Gaulmiga, who was the head of the military regiment, consisting of 9 chariots, 9 elephants, 25 horses, and 45 foot soldiers. The head of the army platoon was therefore posted in the countryside to maintain peace and order. The military character of the Satavahana rule is also evident from the common use of such terms as and Skandavaras. Kataga and Skandavaras in their inscriptions. These were military camps and settlements which served as administrative centers so long as the king was there. Thus, coercion played an important part in the Satavahana administration. The Satavahana started the practice of granting tax-free villages to Brahmanas and Buddhist monks. The cultivated fields and villages granted to them were declared free from molestation by royal policemen and soldiers and all kinds of royal officers. These areas therefore became small independent islands within the Shatavahana kingdom. Possibly the Buddhist monks also preached peace and rules of good conduct among the people they lived with and taught them to respect the political authority and social order. The Brahmanas, of course, helped enforce the rules of Varna system, which made society stable. Shatavahana kingdom had three grades of feudatories. The highest grade was formed by the king, who was called Raja, and who had the right to strike coins. The second grade was formed by Mahabhoja, and the third grade by Senapati. It seems that these feudatories and landed beneficiaries enjoyed some authority in their respective localities. Religion. The Shatavahana rulers claimed to have been Brahmanas, and they represented the march of triumphant Brahmanism. From the very beginning, kings and queens performed Vedic sacrifices such as Ashwamedha, Vajpaya, etc. They also worshipped a large number of Vaishnava gods such as Krishna, Vasudeva, and others. They paid liberal sacrificial fees to the Brahmanas. However, the Shatavahana rulers promoted Buddhism by granting lands to the monks. In their kingdom, Mahayana form of Buddhism commanded considerable following, especially in the artisan class. Nagarjunakonda and Amaravati in Andhra Pradesh became important seats of Buddhist culture under the Shatavahanas, and more so under their successors, the Ishavakus. Similarly, Ishavakus. Okay. Similarly, Buddhism flourished in the Nasik and Junar areas in the western Deccan in Maharashtra, where it seems to have been supported by traders. 16.1 Chaitya at Karle. Architecture. In the Shatavahana phase, many temples and monasteries were cut out of the solid rock in the northwestern Deccan or Maharashtra with great skill and patience. In fact, the process had started about a century earlier from 200 BC. The two common structures were the temple, which was called Chaitya, and the monastery, which was called Vihara. The Chaitya was a large hall with a number of columns, and the Vihara consisted of central hall entered by a doorway from a veranda in front. The most famous Chaitya is that of Karle in the western Deccan. It is about 40 meters long, 15 meters wide, and 50 meters high. It is a most impressive specimen of massive rock architecture. 16.2 figure shows that sculptures depicting the worship of Buddha's footprints, Amaravati. Okay, figure 16.3 shows scene depicting Buddha's sermon, Nagarjunakonda. Okay. The viharas or monasteries were excavated near the chaityas for the residence of monks in the rainy season. At Nasik, we have three viharas. Since they carry the inscriptions of Nahapana and Gautamiputra, it seems that they belong to the 1st-2nd centuries AD. Rock cut architecture is also to be found in Andhra in the Krishna Godavari region, but the region is really famous for independent Buddhist structures. The most important of these monuments are the stupas distributed over an area of 125 km all around Ellora. The most famous of them are Amaravati and Nagarjunakonda. The stupa was a large round structure erected over some relic of the Buddha. The Amaravati stupa began in about 200 BC but was completely reconstructed in the second half of the 2nd century AD. Its dome measured 53 meters across the base and it seems to have been 33 meters in height. The Amaravati stupa is full of sculptures which depict the various scenes from the life of Buddha. Nagarjunakonda prospered most under the Ikshavagus and the successors of the Satavahanas. It contains not only Buddhist monuments but also the earliest Brahminical brick temples. Language. The official language of the Satavahanas was Prakrit. All inscriptions were composed in this language and written in Brahmi script. and as was the case in Ashokan times. Some Satavahana kings may have composed Prakrit books. One Prakrit text called Gada Saptasadi is attributed to Satavahana king called Hala. It consisted of 700 verses, all written in Prakrit, but it seems to have been finally retouched much later, possibly after the 6th century AD. Okay, so we have completed chapter 16. In the next video, we will discuss chapter 17, the dawn of history in the deep south. Thank you for listening me. We'll see you in next class. Thank you very much.